Hello, everyone. It's Fred again. I just wanted to inform you that it's time for another update from Notes of a Nomad. And what has happened in the last week is quite dramatic, which I think most of you are aware of, with the COVID-19 virus going around. It has dramatically changed. For example, last week, I went to 4 Toastmasters meetings, and now there's no more meetings. Not face-to-face anyway. If we do have a meeting, they will be online, including those with the children as well. Did have a meeting with some children last Saturday, but that's the last one. Even the schools are closed down. The bars, everything, we now should stay at home. Now, last week, I also went to visit a friend of mine, Marge, because I wanted to iron some clothes, and there's no iron and ironing board where I'm staying with Rupert. So Marge was kind enough to allow me to use her iron and ironing board. And whilst there, we had a wonderful chat. And one thing she mentioned, you should tell us some stories about when you lived in South Africa and you worked on the mines. So I pulled up some pictures, and I'll show you a few pictures. This is from 1964. These are 2 young fellows who I worked with as we were learner miners, and we were working in the underground section for learner miners. We spent 18 months working for this group before we were qualified with our blasting certificates and were allowed to run a group of workers, and we had to go through and do their kind of work, so we would learn the operations that we had to supervise. So let me show you a few of the pictures. And again, I took my camera underground. I don't know if I was allowed to do that. I had to use flash bulbs because it was dark. Everybody had cap lamps, but with the flash bulbs and so on, there was no electronic. Well, I didn't have an electronic flash in those days. I don't know if they were even available. And you'll notice everybody's sort of kneeling or sitting because the stope was only about 3 feet, 3.5 feet high. The gold is in a band of about a couple centimeters. And you don't want to take all the rock out for 6 foot high because it's just waste rock. You only want that little band. So you make it as narrow as possible. So you'll notice that people are, even that one fellow is almost lying down because it can be narrow. And let's show you a couple more pictures. You can see there's someone sitting down, and the props, the sticks that we use to keep the roof or the hanging from falling down. We also, these is in a gully, which means it's higher, where we normally have a scraper or we put little cars in and tracks. We'd have different ways of moving the rock out of the face. This fellow's marking with chalk where we're going to drill holes to put the explosives in so we can blast more rock out. This was a group of us. And yes, Rupert, we'll talk to you just now. Okay, just be careful. Rupert's getting anxious, wants to go for a walk. And this is a picture of the station where we're waiting for the cage, which will take us up to the surface. We're about 4,000. Yeah, Rupert, you want to come up? Come on, Rupert. And so on this particular time, people are waiting to go up to surface. And I think the last picture, if I can just, since Rupert's now sitting on my lap. Yeah, Rupert, I'll take you just now. The cage, it's not changing. I'm pushing the wrong button, that's why. There's a picture of the headgear from the shaft, which on surface, and those cables, as you can see, what lowers the cage down. And we're about 4,000 feet, or what's that, about 1,300 meters, I guess, underground. That's how much rock we had on top of us. So that's just a short introduction of when I was 1964 to 1965. I was a learner miner and got my blasting certificate. Now, let me stop sharing so we can have a better picture. There we are. Now the hat I'm wearing is from Africa. It's from Ethiopia, in fact. I bought it in 2012 when I went and traveled through Africa. But I don't have too many hats from Africa, and this one has badges. The badges were from Postmaster's function that I was involved with, and I had some spare badges. I put it on this Ethiopian hat. Now, as everyone's aware, the COVID-19 is changing the world dramatically. Everything's closed down here. All the recreation centers, all the meeting rooms, the bars, the restaurants. So everybody's staying at home. Yes, Rupert. Yeah, we'll go out just now. Okay. As soon as I finish this, Rupert. And life is going to change. People are going to realize that a lot of the things they were doing before this hibernation that we're now involved with probably may not be that important. And so a lot of the jobs are going to change. So this is almost like going to war, but we're not going to fight another country. We're trying to hunker down and overtake or not being overtaken by a virus. So I'm glad I'm in Canada, though. The Canadian government is really stepping up, helping people who have lost their jobs or are not able to go to work, putting all sorts of emergency financial facilities available to people to help them survive during this time. I'm also happy I'm in Canada because we have national health care where it can be controlled, and the government officials are managing that very well. And also, one thing I really appreciate is we have a national broadcasting corporation called Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, the CBC, and they are able, you can listen to it, they tell you what's going on, remind you, wash your hands, etc. Answer questions, you can phone in and tell them what you're seeing and what you're thinking about and getting some questions answered. So it's a great way to find out what's going on. And also being in Canada, the people here normally are very respectful and comply with requests like that. I remember my son coming from Africa many years ago saying, Canadians, you know, they're strange. Like when they go up an escalator, they stand on the right side to let other people pass. They're so compliant, I guess is one word to use. And that's a good thing in today's. People, I believe, will comply and work. So things are going to change dramatically. So that's some of the reasons why I'm happy I'm in Canada. The healthcare, the CBC radio, what the government's doing for all of us. So, and life's going to change. So I just wanted to update you. Where am I going to go? There's a bit of a challenge with that. Normally I would be looking after people's houses and dogs while they're away, but they're not going away. And I do have friends that sometimes will let me stay, but I don't feel comfortable asking them. What if they get the virus and I'm there and they might think that it was me? And I don't know, maybe it was me. So I'm not asking anyone. So where am I going to go? I did speak to my friend who has that boat. I think I showed you a picture previously, the Sea Holly, where we go regularly. So this is where I'm going to spend. I spoke to him on Saturday night and he said, fine, let him know. When Rupert's owner gets back from England, we're not sure when that's going to happen because a lot of the flights have been canceled. But when she arrives back, then I will go and spend time on the boat. And who knows how long it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a few months. It might even be longer. So with that, Rupert wants to go for his walk. So I'll say goodbye for now. And say goodbye, Rupert. Bye. Yeah. And we'll wish you lots of love and laughter. Bye for now.